Oh. Alright, question of the week, episode 2. I guess one of the main reasons I wanted to do this one is, as it kind of says within the question, is just try and get some positives. So the question of the week is, what are the biggest positives about the UK esports scene? I guess, one of the main reasons is just because even myself, I guess a lot of the content people put out is predominantly negative, because negative stuff gets views, right? Look at traditional media, But at the same point, if we can try and get some more positives, if people talk about it, because it's just interesting to see what people actually say when it comes to the positives, because of, like everyone is everyone's quick to jump the gun and say a negative, but no one really vocally says they're the positive things in a public limelight, especially UK scene shit. I'll just kind of go through what certain people said, put my touch on it, blah blah blah. So question of the week. So one of the first responses we got was Tesco. So one of the first questions we got was from Josh, Tesco. So there is genuinely good talent there, which, yes, I mean, without a shadow of a doubt there is. I mean, some of the examples you gave yourself, so Henry G, Hugo, Just Harry, Smooya, there's a couple of 4 people within that CS sector. But it's literally all over the UK scene in general, to be fair, in terms of there are so much UK talent that's kind of there, but the scene itself is still kind of lagging behind. So I mean, even if you're going to go for Call of Duty, you've got Marky B, you've got Swanee, you've got a whole host of other players like Mad Cat, Josh, etc, etc. Obviously CS wise, player wise, you've obviously got Def and Surreal now playing for Complexity. Obviously there's a whole host of people still within the scene itself, which are very, very talented people. But yes, it's not just players. Obviously it's production, it's admins, it's team managers, it's social media people. There are so many talented people that are actually within the scene, which it's good to see that as the scene is growing, certain people are getting opportunities, and hopefully as time continues, more people do get those kind of salaried permanent opportunities that they are looking for. But yeah, I mean, there's so many players. You've got Irafa, Smite, Bakery, Hots, League. Obviously you've still got Alfari, you've got Maxlaw, you've got older players as well, like Freddy, Impaler. There's so many that, and that, again, that's just naming players. There's so many people beyond that people always seem to forget about, that do need a lot of praise as well for doing what they do, essentially. So one of the second responses, so good old Kieran, Smith Media. So he did say, one of the things that he was on about was confidence. If and when I actually decide to find this tweet on my phone, which, fuck. So confidence, it was a bit conflicted though. Josh came straight back in. In fairness, at least he actually put it across as a reasonable discussion, rather than what most UK players do, and it creates a little bit of hassle. But yeah, he's I've got to disagree. Compare confidence from UK scene to the Danish scene, and there is a world of difference. A lot of UK players play scared. In which Kieran replied, I'm more on about the public perception of it. Everyone will talk big on social media about it, but he understands his point. So then Josh followed up saying it's ego. It's a difficult one, right? I think a lot of UK players they're confident within their own environment in terms of playing against other UK players, because if every UK player thinks they're better than every other UK player for the most part. So as soon as it comes to that international point, then I guess everyone kind of gets a bit, it changes them a little bit, because they're playing against someone unexpected. They're playing against different types of people that they know are good and talented, shall we say. So I do think that, maybe UK players will kind of play scared when they are playing other or international teams, especially because of it's just a different ball game to which they might not have experienced nowhere near the same amounts of, apart from in scrims and everything like that. And obviously, how much do scrims matter realistically? It depends on how you are practicing and what you're trying to get out of it and all sorts. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that the kind of confidence that kind of comes off of UK players is mostly egos, more so than anything. So I mean, certain people have the right to be confident, but there's levels, right? it's good being confident. You have to be confident to near enough excel in anything that you want to do. But then there's that fine line between confidence and arrogance / egos, which I do think is a bit of a issue with the UK scene. But that's a negative. It's not part of the video. Anyway, so moving on to the third one, which was good old Ducky, the lanky bastard. No, I'm joking. But yeah, Ducky came out with, he's like, got a lot of young players with potential, just lack professionalism to stay together. I agree, but at the same point, in terms of like lacking the professionalism to stay together, I'd say that's a universal thing. I wouldn't just specifically put it down on young players. I would say it does happen with some of the older and more supposedly experienced players as well. But at the same point, in terms of it like keeping teams together, I think there's a whole host of other reasons more so than professionalism, but I definitely think professionalism does come into it. But I think as we progress and more money comes in, and obviously I've said about it before, but as kind of contracts become more of the norm, then hopefully that does kind of entice people to stick together more so than kind of falling out and leaving teams due to one silly issue. But yeah, I mean, there is definitely a lot of young players with a lot of potential. I think one of the biggest issues is like, I say issues, but where that kind of transition comes from in terms of like, you see the young people with the talent, and you could put the same thing in any sport. Like there's so many young players that do come through and you think, oh my God, this kid can be sick, but lo and behold, they don't necessarily live up to said potential and make it. So I think the line in it comes from they have the potential, but again, most of the time the potential going into it is more they have the potential because their aim is good. When it comes to professionalism standpoint, within CSGO, then a lot of the players just kind of, they stick with their aim and they don't find out enough about the rest of the game, of how the game actually works, why they do certain things, etc, etc. So I guess that's the biggest cutting point, which I think people need to start learning a bit more. But anyhow, we'll move on to kind of one of the fourth statements. So Liam Townsend, so Lamage, good old Dota. So obviously he put one of the biggest positives would be LAN. So obviously for Dota guys, then essentially that's just going to be epic nowadays. But yeah, like I think a lot of the time then, especially epic, I guess, just because of it is more of that social event. But yeah, LAN does kind of, as much as there's always a little bit of beef pre-LAN, but at the same point everyone goes, everyone enjoys themselves for the most part. It is a good experience. It's always nice to see certain people, put faces to certain people as well. So yeah, I don't think many people are gonna question that. LAN is definitely a very good positive. Put it onto the more amusing one of it. So good old Logsy, the best personalities of any scene. What other scenes have a Sheiky CSGO? Which yeah, definitely Sheiky is an iconic individual to say the least. But then Sheiky just smashed it out of the water in terms of depends on which of my 10 personalities you want. Seems appropriate, to be fair, but yeah, guy's a fucking legend, to be fair, so well done on that one, Sheiky. So then we'll move on to Gizmo. So Jamie Harris, owner of Xenix, owner of GA, so shout out both of those, I guess. But he stated the amount of resources made available to players by organisations could be more, but I think that is more of a learning curve for organisations. Yeah, I mean, I've touched on this quite a lot. I do think that in terms of value for money, then yes, like UK organisations do give players like a decent, well, certain organisations obviously do give players a good amount of resources, like in terms of what equates to the level that they're at. I do certainly think that a lot of people are underappreciative of kind of the amount they actually get from orgs. Bear in mind the stability behind all the rosters, no matter what game it necessarily is. So for sure, like I do 100% agree with that. And in terms of it being a learning curve as well, in terms of it could be more, then yes, again, of course there's certain instances where it can be more. I do think that the way that it works at the moment is like there are a lot of orgs and that kind of do put in a good chunk of their own money and their own personal money as well, so obviously they are limited by how much they can put in. but yeah, I mean, as long as you kind of do have a good, reasonable business sense with it as well, then I guess like for the amount that you are putting in, so obviously Zenix are going to be an example of that, of an organisation that has put in a decent amount of money to various teams, whether it be Dota, whether it be CS and whatnot, Hearthstone as well for Zenix. So yeah, I do think that it is a good amount, and I do think definitely for people need to be a bit more appreciative of said organisations when that does happen. So we move on, Trid, Caster Trid, the legend that he is. So because of the level of skill, there are a decent rotation of talent, i.e. new players that crop up every season. And yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with this. Now you still see the comments here and there that are kind of like, young players or new players don't get a chance, but that statement is absolute bullshit. No matter what game you look through, whether it be COD, whether it be CS, whether it be League, like you compare the players that are say playing in ESL or UK Masters, and you compare it to a couple of seasons ago, and there is a decent amount of rotation within the players that are participating in. Now it's still great in terms of seeing these more experienced players that are still kind of available or playing in and around the scene. I mean, obviously you've still got the kind of the e.g. recent Infused lineups. You've got Red Snake and Rattlesnake still playing, still going to be at a decent level without a shadow of a doubt. So I think it's a good blend personally. I do think new players do get a chance, but at the end of the day you've just got to earn it. But yeah, for sure, fully agree with that. I think the talent pool, and it's not even just restricted to players again as well, it's like casting talent especially. Throughout near enough every single esport at this point, there are a decent amount of UK casters, and so yeah, I mean throughout the board I'd definitely say there's new talent coming in. And I mean, as UK esports and esports in general continues to grow, then I assume we're going to just continue to get more and more people coming through the ranks and kind of making something of themselves, so it'll be good. So then we move on to Andrew, so Andrew Smith, so obviously good old London Lynx. Now works at ESL, so congrats on that one, my friend. But yeah, events are often filled and there's a lot of good history, so there's a lot to be learned and refer to. So yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I think iSeries has been running since what, like 1999 near enough. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the amount of history of events, and obviously there's so many more events that have gone on throughout various games throughout that time period anyway. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely the numbers that generally get filled. I mean, iSeries and Epics especially, then obviously they near enough sell out every single time. The other events and whatnot that do pop up are generally very good in attendance. So yeah, I mean, definitely I think the fact that they do get filled up for the most part is always a good sign. Combine that with that there is a lot to be learned and a lot to refer to. At the end of the day, every tournament organiser is probably going to make a couple of mistakes as they go on, right? No one's perfect. But I do think there is a good like precedent that's been set already for people that if they are creating new tournaments or even continuing tournaments they're already doing, that there is enough of a past for them to kind of take bits and bobs from and be like, okay, well look, these guys have done that before, that clearly didn't work out, maybe we should apply the same logic and things like that. So yeah, going forward I think that there is a lot of good history for them to base that upon. So then we had quite a few people, in fairness, come out in terms of like stating good people and good communities. So like Hype, Soup, aka Vernon K, and Haste were all kind of along the similar lines. And look, as much as, you know, there's enough beef in whatever game of like whether it be like recent League of Legends kind of people pretending or making out that they're a lot better than what they are or whatever it necessarily is, I guess. But there's always like that sort of stuff that does go on the negative side of it. But at the same point, how many people that are within UK esports as a whole, or like not even just UK, it's the same everywhere, but that a good amount of their friend groups, if not all of them, are people that they've met through gaming and esports and UK scene. And a lot of people have become very, very good friends with a lot of the other people they've met. And I think for the most part, like on an individual level, like one-on-one, there are so many nice people out there. It's just when people seem to kind of group up that they start becoming a bit of a dick. But yeah, like for the most part, like there is so many good people, and there are, for the most part, as much as the community I guess does need to kick up the arse in certain aspects, but like for the most part there are a lot of decent people. And I'll kind of like tip my hat off to kind of so many people that I've met throughout the scene that have just been solid gold in terms of their personalities. So yeah, like fully agree with everyone kind of saying that. You've got, so Chronicle, Nathan, we have dedicated leagues and tournaments for the UK only, e.g. ESL Prem and UK Masters. Yeah, 100% fully agree. As much as everyone's going to, again, be slightly negative when certain things come out or things don't go to plan with those tournaments, but I do think that we overall need to be a bit more, again, appreciative of the fact that they are actually there in the first place. There's a lot of national scenes that there isn't any like sort of infrastructure like that in place. And you've got to think about it, especially with ESL and I guess multiplayer now with the whole Belong by Game and what they're doing in terms of all the stores and making it more gaming and esports friendly and kind of putting that out there essentially. Like you have to look at it from that side of things as well in terms of what they do beyond the tournaments and everything like that, in terms of genuinely trying to attract the businesses, attract the interest, make the kind of landscape of UK esports bigger in general, and make more people publicly aware of it. So things like that, like as much as I kind of probably went off on a little bit of a different direction with that, but yeah, overall the tournaments and leagues, it is a great thing. And obviously each season for the most part they do seem to be getting better and better. So yeah, I mean, long may that continue, I guess. A few other bits that we've got. So I think one of the last ones essentially was Miami, which is an incredible amount of production units to help with keeping the scene afloat, if not spotlight it. So yeah, I mean, for sure, in terms of whether it be like the ESL, the multiplayer, everything like that, and you've got so much more behind it. Like you've got Newell as well. There are a lot of infrastructures and a lot of places that from a production side of it do add so much value to the scene. Obviously we've still got a long way to go in improvement wise, but again, like esports is one of those things that because of what it is, then everyone always tends to focus on the players and be like, the players are everything. And as much as I agree, for the most part, like a lot of it is going to be built around them because they are the primary, they're the people playing the game. Same thing with any form of sport, but obviously again there's just so many people that are behind the scenes of that, whether it be organisation owners, whether it be tournament organisers, tournament admins, general staff. Like so many people put so much fucking time into kind of working and trying to do their bit. So yeah, I mean, even especially from a production point of view, and production especially for like content, tournaments, whatever it necessarily is, it's a long ass job in a lot of scenarios, and it's a lot of work. So again, yeah, like hats off on that one. But yeah, that'll pretty much, I guess, sum up the questions of the week this time. Guess one of the positives is I didn't have a squeaky ass chair. I keep looking at I've got, my camera has like a pull out screen, and I keep looking at the screen rather than the center of the camera, so I do sincerely apologize for when that happens. But yeah, no squeaky chair, so that's always an improvement. Besides that, obviously, by all means, anyone let me know if you do have any other specific questions that you would like me to potentially cover in future times. Aside from that, obviously remember to like, comment, subscribe, hate, whatever it is you feel like doing today. And other than that, that'll be it, so peace.